Welcome to Self-Care Tips. I am Irene Njoroge, and today we're going to talk about why every woman needs a dera in her wardrobe. A dera is a simple dress that is made of cotton and usually has all sorts of colorful patterns combined with a scarf. It is very important to have this dress in your wardrobe, and I'm going to tell you why. First of all, you can wear it anywhere. It will never let you down. If you combine it with a scarf, it creates modesty. You can wear it to church, you can wear it to offices, you can wear it to any kind of function that you have. It is acceptable. It has become a nice, common Kenyan dress that is decent and modest and widely accepted. It suits every person of every age. Whether you're 15 years old or whether you're 70 years old, a dera will always look great. Another thing, it flatters every body shape, and at the same time, it's a kind of thing that you don't have to worry about anything in your wardrobe. You can have several of them, and you can mix and match with any kind of scarf you want. You can wear it anyhow you want. It will never let you down, even when you go to places that are conservative about clothes, where you can't wear trousers, where you can't wear even dresses or skirts. Just slip into your nice dera and you will always fit in. It's a Kenyan outfit that suits every woman, and you need it in your wardrobe. I am Irene Njoroge with Self-Care Tips.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email newsroom@kbc.co.ke, call 0723 892 654 or 0734 780 124.
This is KBC Prime Edition, bringing you the eyes on the news this Tuesday, the 2nd of November 2021. Good evening from Nairobi, Kenya. My name is Mboya.
My name is Museo. Welcome to the latest news from around the world that includes business and sports news.
First, our headline stories. Midterm breaks back. Will this curb cases of unrest in schools? Last-minute culture. Long queues characterize last day of voter registration exercise.
Yetu tu ni kuombea hii mbuti, tuwapatie baraka. Wakimaliza siku 3 tunawakubalia wakate hii mbuti.
Back to the roots. Elders perform rituals to facilitate uprooting of sacred Mugoma tree along dual carriageway. Thank you for joining us. On to our top story. Now, the Ministry of Education has reinstated the half-term break for secondary schools in the continuing second term of the school calendar. The schools will now break for half-term. That's from the 19th all the way to the 23rd of November.
The directive is seen as a move to stem the spike in cases of unrest in schools across the country characterized by arson and destruction of property.
The Ministry of Education had initially withdrawn the midterm break to allow schools to make up for lost time during the 6-month closure occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic. However, under the new directive to all regional and county directors of education, the Education Principal Secretary Dr. Julius Johan said learners in secondary school will break for half-term break commencing on Friday 19th of November and report back to school on Tuesday 23rd of November. The measure has, however, not catered for primary schools. This directive comes in the wake of a spate of unrest in secondary schools that has seen wanton destruction of property, with the latest incident being an inferno at Kahuhia Girls' School in Murang'a on Tuesday. The students are currently pursuing Term 2 studies, which began on October 11th and is expected to end on 23rd December. This will then be followed by a 10-day holiday, after which the learners will report back to school for Term 3 studies on January 3rd, 2022. Yusufar reporting for Prime Edition.
Well, let's now get an update here on the voter registration exercise. And the mass voter registration exercise has come to an end, with IEBC failing to meet its target of enlisting 6 million new voters.
Unfulfilled political promises and lack of enthusiasm from the political class have been blamed for the voter apathy witnessed during the month-long exercise. Chola Simon with the details.
As is characteristic of Kenyans, last day of any exercise sees a mad rush, and today was no different as eligible voters thronged various registration centers across the country to beat the deadline. In the end, IEBC appears to have failed in hitting the mark.
5 million voters were basically youths who are registered between 2017 and 2021. And those were the number of IDs issued during that time.
In Kisumu County, only about 30% of the potential voters turned up to register as voters, with many citing other personal engagements as the root cause.
Kisumu County had a target of 126,160. And basically we had also a weekly targets and even a daily targets. But the turnout has been very low. Especially among the youth.
The Kisumu County Election Manager Patrick Odame, however, says the current situation may be as a result of unfulfilled promises, societal fatigue occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic, and failure by the political class to mobilize the masses to participate in the exercise.
But then, when the parties themselves don't move the masses, you know, this is a political process, then sometimes people tend to wait last minute, and probably Kenyans are used to the mass voter registration, where you have very many kids, and then we are doing it very close to election, when the election mood is very high in the country.
He says all is not lost, however, as those willing to register or transfer from their voter points can still visit IEBC constituency offices to do so.
We have registration officer and assistant registration officers in every constituency. They will continue with registration drives throughout, where people can come and change even their particulars, or they can transfer to their preferred stations.
Chola Simon, Prime Edition, Kisumu County.
Now, Kenya has partnered with the United Kingdom government in efforts to promote the development of human resources for health and enhance health delivery. The Kenya-UK Health Alliance program seeks to, among other things, establish a state-of-the-art medical training center that's at Kisii University, which will be a regional hub for healthcare research, innovation, and training of advanced-level medical personnel for Kenya and East African countries. Safina Ching, Oma reports.
President Uhuru Kenyatta met with the leadership of the Kenya-UK Health Alliance during the Tuesday meeting, which was held on the sidelines of the ongoing COP26 conference in Glasgow, Scotland. The head of state was briefed on the progress of the implementation of the broad strategic plan between Kenya and the UK, which seeks to enhance medical training and research in the two countries. The KUKA program seeks to roll out a scholarship at the Jomo Kenyatta University that will see Kenyan healthcare providers trained in the UK in a wide array of specialized medical areas. The program is also targeting to establish a state-of-the-art medical training center in Kisii University, which will be a regional hub for healthcare research, innovation, and advanced medical training. Key among the program in Kenya is the progressive setup of an oncology center of excellence at the Kenyatta University Teaching, Research and Referral Hospital, of which a world-class imaging facility has already been installed and was recently unveiled by President Uhuru Kenyatta and First Lady Margaret Kenyatta. For Prime Edition, I'm Safin Aching Ouma.
And a state of emergency has been declared in Ethiopia. Ethiopia's Council of Ministers took the move after fighters from the northern Tigray region announced they had captured the strategic towns of Desi and Kombolcha in the neighboring Amhara region. The Tigrayan fighters, who have been fighting federal government forces for a year, also indicated they might advance further south on the capital, Addis Ababa. The government said soldiers were still battling for control of two key towns some 400 kilometers from Addis Ababa. All right, that's a developing story. I'll be giving you more details as we get them. Now, back home, Deputy President William Ruto has accused his political opponents of engaging in empty political rhetoric instead of selling solid economic agenda. Ruto has called on Kenyans to be wary of such leaders, saying they spell doom for the country's economy.
For the second day in a row, the Deputy President pitched tent in Nyamira County, where he continued to drum up support for the bottom-up economic model and his presidential bid. And with serious competition from his arch-rival Raila Odinga and the One Kenya Alliance, Ruto accused his rivals of engaging in sloganeering meant to hoodwink the public.
Please, fanyeni hima, mutafute candidate haraka haraka, mutafute sera kwa na mpango yenu. Haitoshi nyinyi ku criticize bottom up. Tafuteni yenu muuzie wa Kenya.
Ruto has called on Kenyans to rally behind leaders whose development track records are clear.
Sasa kwa hii watu wote ambao wanatafuta kiti ya rais, si mnajua iko ule alikuwa prime minister, iko ule alikuwa vice president, iko mwingine alikuwa deputy prime minister, si mnajua? Sio wageni, ni watu tunawajua. Ama namna gani? Na amewahi kupata nafasi ya uongozi Kenya, si ndio? Hawa watu wengine mimi nashindana na wao. Wapi kazi yao ya hapa Nyamira?
While warning Kenyans to be wary of leaders keen on creating ethnic cracks, Ruto drummed up support for the United Democratic Alliance UDA party, calling on Kenyans to reject parties that have no national outlook.
We must commit at least 50 billion shillings every year in a fund so that we can improve the status of our micro and small and medium enterprises.
Siasa ambayo inakuja next year, tunataka siasa ya amani. Na kwa sababu tunataka siasa ya amani, wakati wewe unafanya kazi ya serikali, stop taking positions. Wewe ni referee.
Tunataka rais tu mmoja, sio ukabila, lakini ambaye ako na uwezo wa kwanza kuunganisha Wakenya wote na pili kuinua uchumi wetu.
John Jacob Kuria, Prime Edition.
Let's stay with politics. Gatundu South Member of Parliament Moses Kuria has proposed NARC Kenya leader Martha Karua as Mount Kenya region's running mate to the presidential candidate, eyeing the region's support. Speaking in Kiambaa constituency, Kiambu County, Kuria said that it is unlikely that the region will field a presidential candidate this time round.
It is unlikely that the Mount Kenya region is going to produce the next president of this country. At the same time, given our voting numbers, we are entitled to produce the next deputy president of this country. And I, in my own individual capacity, as a member of parliament for Gatundu South, I want to endorse the Honorable Mother Karua for the position of deputy president. She has the integrity, she has the stamina, she has the record, she has a clear starting record as a crusader for both multipartyism and for human rights.
Presidential aspirant Jimmy Wanjigi has called on the electorate to resist any attempt by some forces to impose candidates on them. Wanjigi is warning that Kenyans will revolt against what he termed as political projects. Wanjigi has further called on his party, ODM, to commit to a free and fair presidential nomination. He said going to the delegate route is an undemocratic way of settling on a candidate.
Well, my views are very clear. The people of this country are the ones who decide who is their next president. You can be favorites of some, and you can be favorites of some of those who are very unpopular, by the way. No candidate is going to impose on the people of Kenya. There are no more projects. Na kama mukijaribu projects, you shall see what will happen to you. To be no different to what has happened in the history of this nation. Projects are rejected. Kenyans are the ones who own their own project, and that will be decided August 9th, 2022. We have a whole vice chair who is out there telling us categorically that these nominations are going to be done in rooms and delegates and I don't know what. We don't even know how they choose those people. We don't know whether they are relatives. We don't know anything. I can tell you, if you are not democratic at the presidential, you will not be democratic right up to MCA.
Well, let's now move away from politics. Elders from Kirinyaga County have performed a traditional ritual to allow for the uprooting of the sacred Mugomo tree, which stands on the 84-kilometer Kenol-Marua dual carriageway project currently under construction. Now, according to the acting Kirinyaga County Council of Elders Chairman Harrison Dambiri, the tree is regarded as sacred and no one is allowed to cut it down without that ritual being done first.
Led by the council's acting chairman Harrison Dambiri, the elders sacrificed a one-colored goat which was burnt to ashes just below the Mugumo tree, while two others were slaughtered and eaten by the elders, this according to the ideals of the Agikoyo. The smoke from the sacrificial goat must rise straight up into the skies through the branches of the Mugumo tree. The ceremony is meant to appease the forefathers and give an okay to the road contractor to cut and uproot the tree which had halted the progress of the road.
Kazi yetu tu ni kuombea hii mbuti, tuwapatie baraka. Wakimaliza siku 3 tunawakubalia wakati hii mbuti. Na hakuna kitu itaonekana mbaya sababu Mungu amekubali.
The expansion of the highway coded A2 upon completion is expected to ease transportation and reduce traffic along the section of the road. The tree is being cut to allow for expansion of the road. The 84-kilometer Keno-Marua dual carriageway project, which is in progress, is expected to be completed by 2022. Jacqueline Masharia for Prime Edition.
The Director of Public Prosecution has dropped charges against 10 people who had earlier on been charged with graft allegations on the loss of over 4 billion shillings in the Lake Basin Development Authority graft case. Appearing before the Senior Principal Magistrate Eunice Nyutu, the DPP also told the court that the 2 Lake Basin cases will now be consolidated with an amended charge sheet that has 13 accused persons. Sarafina Ruby has that report.
It was a sigh of relief for 10 people in the over 4 billion Lake Basin Development Authority graft case after the Director of Public Prosecution dropped charges against them. The 10, who include Anthony Chebulobi Kisaka, Nelson Ouma Onyango, Henry Ogwan Odindo, Emmanuel Songoro, Moses Wekesa, Godfrey Maina Mwange, Frederick Chere Onyango, Albert Ojango Omonde, Amelia Jacqueline Oteno, and Teresia Achieng Ochaka. The DPP has now consolidated the 2 Graft Lake Basin cases into one, with one amended charge sheet that now has 13 accused persons. The case will be mentioned virtually at 9 a.m. on Thursday, the 4th of November, to ascertain submissions and pretrial directions. Meanwhile, the Law Society of Kenya has called for the immediate release of Professor Wilson Hassan Nandwa and his client Elgiva Bwire. It is alleged that the two went missing on Thursday, the 28th of October 2021, after Professor Nandwa visited the Anti-Terror Police Unit to represent his client, who had been released from the Committee Maximum Security Prison. The LSK alleges that there is a deliberate plan to habitually infringe on human rights. Serafina Robi for Prime Edition.
Well, we're going to take our first short break before we bring you an update on the COVID situation in the country and across the world.
Stay with us.
Kama mambo ilivyo siku hizi mzee, mama wengi ni wafanyikazi, lakini wakati wa kupata mtoto mama hapati mshahara, na tunajua kwamba kazi ya kufungua kumpata mtoto ni njia moja ya kujenga nchi, na tunaona saa nyingine huyu mama anarudi kazi, akisha kaa wiki moja nyumbani na afya yake ni nzuri, na tungefikiria mzee, kwa uzuri wako uone ya kwamba hii afadhali tupate kama miezi mitatu hivi na malipo, ili mama akae nyumbani apate ile dugu amete, alafu anaweza kuwa na nguvu, anarudi kazini na anaacha mtoto yake ako na nguvu, ili tuweze kujenga nchi yetu kwa njia nzuri.
Kenya Defence Forces, KDF, announces the recruitment of General Service Officers, GSO Cadets, Specialist Officers, General Duty Recruits, Tradesmen and Women, and Constables scheduled for the month of November 2021. Listen to Radio Taifa during the entire month of November 2021 for details of the recruitment process. Then grab your local newspaper, The Daily Nation, 7th of November. The Star on the 5th of November, while the Standard will have those details 14th of November and 9th of November on MyGov inside this Standard newspaper. The People's Daily on the 8th of November and 12th of November. Remember, no one can influence the recruitment process because bribery and other acts of corruption are against the law. Report any suspicious activities or characters to the nearest police station or military camp, or call hotline numbers 0726419709 or 01203000599. KDF recruitment is absolutely free to all.
To get Philippians 1:6 as your Skiza tune, dial star 811 star 965 hash.
And I'm certain that God, who began the good work within you, will continue his work until it is finally finished on the day when Jesus Christ returns. Philippians chapter 1, verse 6.
To get Philippians 1:6 as your skiza tune, dial star 811 star 965 hash. Star 811 star 965 hash.
Welcome back. This is Prime Edition, our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 and our hashtag Prime Edition. Let's look at the COVID situation. 70 people have tested positive for COVID-19 from a sample size of 5,755 tested over the last 24 hours. The positivity rate is at now 1.2%. Total confirmed positive cases are now 253,409 and cumulative tests so far conducted are 2.71 million. One patient is reported to have succumbed to the disease, this being a late death reported after conducting facility record audits in the month of October. This now pushes the cumulative fatalities to 5,282. A total of 5.3 million vaccines have so far been administered across the country. A section of police officers in the country have received the much-needed psychosocial support following the deployment of 60 psychosocial officers in every county by the National Police Service Commission over the past 6 months. The Commission is also reviewing medical insurance packages of police officers to cater for their mental health and those living with disabilities.
Out of the over 100,000 police officers deployed for duty countrywide, a section of police officers have received psychosocial support, a new program pioneered by the National Police Service Commission aimed at catering for the physical and mental welfare of officers while in service. 60 social workers and counsellors per county have been deployed to assess the needs of the affected officers.
Haja ya activity hii ni kuona ni polisi wangapi ambao wana hizi shida na ni shida aina gani ndio waweze kushughulikiwa kimatibabu ama pia mambo ya kulipwa fidia.
This is not only for Coast Region, it is for all regions, and so far we have covered 6 regions of the country, and we have only got 2 more to finish.
As she launched the Mombasa County Special Medical Board, National Police Service Commission Vice Chair Dr. Alice Otwala says they are reviewing medical insurance packages to cater for mental health cases.
As a commission, we are continuously looking into how do we continue to improve it so that officers may get medical attention wherever they are.
Otwala further said the psychosocial clinics will also go into assisting members of the police service living with disabilities.
Sehemu hii ina changamoto nyingi ambazo polisi wameweza kukumbana nazo kwa wingi. Tunapozungumzia hali ya afya ya polisi hapa kwetu Pwani pia iangaliwe kwa ndani zaidi.
Wengi wao ni wale wamepata accident kwa njia ya traveling. Wengi wao ni wale wamekuwa bombed in situations where we have been having attacks in various regions of this country. Wengi wao in the course of their duty wamepata to lose an eye or a leg, and that's what we are seeing.
Juni Karisa Mbele for the Prime Edition from Mombasa County.
Residents of Ichuga in Kieni East are calling on relevant authorities in Nyeri County to help them fight a swarm of bees that has invaded electricity meter boxes and trees in the area. The residents say the bees recently attacked them and their livestock, leaving some of the animals dead and others injured.
Julius Mwaneki, a resident, said that the situation has led him to incur losses as his 7-year-old daughter and some of his livestock were seriously injured in the bee attack. The residents are now calling on the government to swiftly come to their aid to fight the bees as they are living in fear of other attacks.
Amekuwa akishambulia watu ovyo ovyo. Na next mpaka tumefika imenishambulia watoto, imeshambulia nguruwe zangu, imekuwa hazard kwa nini kwa majirani, na zaidi ya yote hata ukipiga simu hakuna usaidizi unapata. Mpaka hapo tumefika, tumesema angalau tuita tu media tuambie kama kuna department zinafaa kuja huku kuchukua hiyo hatua.
Meanwhile, locals in Mandera have urged the government to distribute relief foods to areas affected most by drought.
Kwa sababu ya shida ya malisho ya ng'ombe ambayo imeathiriwa na ukame, serikali imeweza kutoa hii msaada ya magunia 560 ambayo ni chakula ya mifugo. Itasambazwa katika sehemu zote katika sub-county yetu ya Mandera East.
This even as Kenya Red Cross launches a cash transfer program in Samburu North to support 700 households affected by drought.
We've supported households through cash transfers in Samburu North. We have also supported households in Samburu East with food distribution. We expect that the organization will be monitoring the situation to reach more of our partners and to support the households that are.
Elsewhere, leaders in the country have been urged to lead by example in ensuring that the country maintains peace as it gears up for the 2022 general elections. Finally, farmers in Mount Elgon have benefited from financial support by a non-governmental organization to boost farming and their day-to-day business activities.
Benefit na hii kikundi kinaitwa Penny's Nick imeweza kutusaidia na imeweza kutulinda na imeweza kutupa siku ya leo check kama kikundi ya Kapkrongo.
With the aid they received, the farmers are able to pull resources together and initiate small community projects to further boost their earnings. Reporting for Prime Edition, I'm Mboya Otiende.
Well, that story of the green oil brings us to our second break on KBC Prime Edition.
Absolutely. We have business news coming up, but we have a special report on lynching of witches, suspected witches being lynched by locals for the same reasons, practicing witchcraft. We'll have that report tomorrow, but here is the teaser of that report by our own Nisi Imano.
A village in shock. 3 families have just been thrown into mourning. This is at Marani in Kisii County. The deceased did not die of sickness or accident. No.
Kuna mtu anajaribu kutuchezea shere na anataka uniangalie mkufu wa Maya.
Shere nimezoea kwangu na mume wangu Kombo.
Kwetu mama, watu wanakufa wakifufuliwa bwana.
Wa kike ama wa kiume?
Why does it matter?
Usiniudhi Maya.
Umepata tabu kweli?
Lakini usinilaumu mimi.
Kazi nzuri ifanye wewe mwenyewe.
I am asking Constanza to marry me. It would be best for my plans if Mr. Victoriano is not at all present.
Now I look exactly the same as Diana Maria. What was that?
Her mother's alive.
Mr. Robbie planned a surprise party for Miss Connie. Oh, I'm sure they'll explain it to you. Come on, let's hurry up.
Come on now. I want to ask you to be my lovely wife.
Mr. Robbie has just proposed marriage to Miss Connie.
What?
Welcome back. We now take a look at the day's business on the second day of November. And today, the Commission on Revenue Allocation has dismissed the proposal by the Council of Governors to raise the county revenue allocation to 381 billion shillings in the current financial year, saying it's not sustainable. CRA Chairperson Jane Kirangai says counties such as Nairobi, Kiambu, Kisumu, Mombasa and Machakos counties have the potential to finance up to 50% of their own budget and do not need additional revenue or rely on the exchequer funding. There has been a push and pull between the Commission on Revenue Allocation and the Council of Governors over revenue allocation in the current financial year. The Commission recommends that based on the revenue projections, the national government will get 1.7 trillion shillings, counties 370 billion shillings, and an equalization fund of 6.8 billion shillings. Commission on Revenue Allocation Chairperson Jane Kirangai says the COG proposal is unworkable since counties such as Nairobi, Kiambu, Kisumu, Mombasa and Machakos have the potential to finance up to 50% of their own budget without the exchequer intervention.
If you look at the counties like Nakuru, Kiambu and Kajiado, these are counties, Nakuru can finance 69% of their own budget, Kisumu 75% and Kajiado up to 76% if they corrected the revenue that they have a potential to correct. Nairobi is one county that, in the view of the Commission, does not need to get money from the center if they did the right things.
CRA further says a total of 34 other counties can finance up to 20%, with 15 counties capable of financing less than 10% of their budget. Counties will also need to automate their revenue collection structure and seal revenue leakages. The Commission further raised concerns over the widening fiscal deficit, which has occasioned the accumulation of more debt to finance government functions, calling for fiscal consolidation of public debt.
When you have limited fiscal space to stimulate the economy through debt or to tax more, then tells you that we are walking on a very tight rope in terms of how much money we can recommend between the two levels of government.
Engineers are urging the public to contract qualified and registered professionals to reduce cases of defective buildings. The Institution of Engineers of Kenya says it has partnered with other industry stakeholders to streamline the built environment in the country.
Kenya has witnessed a surge in the number of collapsing buildings in the last 12 months, which is being blamed on poor workmanship and failure to adhere to the building code. The Institution of Engineers of Kenya says the crisis facing the industry can be addressed by engaging the services of professionals in their projects.
If you're a developer and you want to put up a building, if you want to be sure that the consultants you're engaging are qualified, then you can go to the website of EBK and check, because when you engage registered engineers, you have a chance to raise up your concerns if really it's an engineer who was involved.
IEK Vice President Engineer Lucy Mutinda says developers should also use standard materials when embarking on their projects to minimize the chances of faulty buildings.
Make sure you're getting right materials. When you talk about your electricity, you talk about your pumps, your mechanicals in the house. It's all about engineering.
The engineering fraternity plans to address these issues during the upcoming 28th Institution of Engineers International Conference to be held next week in Mombasa.
Now, there is need to train more IT professionals in the country for Kenya to maintain its competitive edge in the digital gig economy. IT players say Kenya has the capacity of churning out about 70 million tech-enabled jobs, but this is being hampered by a lack of skilled IT professionals.
A recent study by the job recruiting firm Bright Monday on the impact of COVID-19 revealed that jobs in the technological sector are in high demand. The report shows that some of the emerging roles include AI and data science roles, tech support, coding, and virtual hosting specialists, among others. Players in the sector are now concerned with the low supply of talent into the growing sector.
There's a skills mismatch. So basically what is being trained on is not the problem-solving and analytical skills that we need to be actually competitive on a global level.
As part of efforts to safeguard against the acute shortage of IT professionals, Microsoft, in partnership with Kenyan education innovation firm Elewa, is looking to engage talented youth through a free professional development training dubbed iTalanta.
Right now, we're still actually setting our first steps. So we have over 10 apprentices now that are doing their first job here in Kenya, working for international clients. We have our first campus now with 20 students that is starting in Kakuma refugee camp. We are looking to scale that up.
The generic things that people can even learn from the internet, which is the actual content of software development, then what we're also looking to teach them is the soft skills.
Currently, the iTalanta apprenticeship program has accumulated over 35,000 students in various fields in the sector. Alanauko, Prime Edition.
Now to the latest at the corporate scene. Farmers at the Kenyan-Tanzanian border are set to reap big from horticultural farming practices following interventions by the government. The measures are aimed at mitigating against the perennial floods that have for decades ravaged farmers, exposing them to perennial hunger and drought.
The horticultural subsector in Taita Taveta is a major source of income, employment and food for the locals. However, the sector has to cope with various production constraints such as clogging of water trenches in the irrigation system and outmoded farming practices. Taita Taveta County Executive Committee in charge of agriculture, Davis Mwangoma, has said the county has procured machines that will help the silt over 50-kilometer canals of the Lambongutini Marodo irrigation scheme.
Lengo letu ni kuhakikisha kwamba hizi canals zote zimefunguliwa. Hiyo 54 kilometers yote imefunguliwa, na tuangalie vile vile ni wapi kwingine tunaweza tukashirikiana so that tufungue.
Meanwhile, Kenya is facing a fish deficit of between 300 and 400,000 tons of fish annually, forcing the country to import the commodity. Fisheries Principal Secretary Francis Owino is urging more farmers to engage in fish farming to take advantage of the growing demand for the product locally and internationally.
The potential of production of fish in this country lies in aquaculture. Na ile pesa ya samaki ni 6-8 months. Iko kwa mfuko, unangojea ingine.
Finally, GoTV has launched the Super Package, which is the latest addition to the GoTV offering and will offer customers more entertainment channels this festive season for 1,499 Kenyan shillings per month. The package offers a range of lifestyle and entertainment channels. The new package has no additional sports channels.
Well, that roundup brings to a close business news for tonight. Coming up next is the foreign market report and also how shares are trading at the NSE market. My name is Carol Jinger. Have a good night and see you tomorrow for more business news.
take it on at the right time.
Honorable Musalia Mudavadi.
The Honorable Mutahi Kagwe.
Chief Justice Martha Karambuko.
This is KBC, is the voice of Kenya.
Asking the right questions.
I don't know how it made you feel as speaker who is presiding over a house where members can be compromised with 10,000 shillings.
We keep our guests comfortable. A mission to ensure our audience gets a complete story.
For a few hours or so, I thought this is it. My end has come.
If really we want an end of this pandemic, we must fight.
Our goal, to tell it as it is for the benefit of our viewer.
And I'm sure we will have good discussions.
All right.
That will make probably your viewers understand KDF better.
With 21 radio outlets.
During a live interview on KBC TV, Chief of Defense Forces General Robert Kiboshi.
Jaji mkuu kwa mara ya kwanza katika mahojiano yake ya kipekee na runinga ya KBC Channel 1.
And 2 TV stations covering over 90% of the entire country. The message always gets home. KBC, the home of on-air TV interviews.
Oh, good evening. This is KBC Sports with me, Richard Munga. Now, Nandi County Senator Kiprotich Cherargei has called for immediate resignation of Sports Cabinet Secretary Ambassador Amina Mohammed for alleged misappropriation of the sports fund. Cherargei, who was speaking to the media in Parliament, asked the DCI to begin the auditing process for the ministry after the sports fund was allocated 30 billion shillings in the last financial year.
The Ministry of Sports has been tasked by the Senate to account for the money allocated to the sports fund during the financial year. Nandi County Senator Kiprotich Cherargei has raised concerns over alleged misappropriation of funds allocated to help national teams representing the country in international events.
Sports fund has over 30 billion that was allocated, but is now being misappropriated by the Ministry of Sports. For example, football. Who knows football? Hood the Timber Football Championship was allocated Kenya shillings 31 million. Pia martial arts kung fu. Sijui kama hii Chinese walikuja naye hii Kenya. Wamepewa 80 million kung fu. Wamepewa 80 million and their offices that don't exist. They are nowhere to be seen, but they are cobbling 80 million.
Meanwhile, senators have asked the Sports Ministry to step up its investigations on alleged corruption and misuse of funds by Football Kenya Federation (FKF).
I fail to understand why probably the individuals who are at FKF are against the audit, and instead of asking for the resignation of the CS, maybe we should have gone to the extent of advising the CS that she can tackle FKF based on the rules and regulations of FIFA, so that we don't, as a country, fall foul to the operations with FIFA.
I think audits are welcome everywhere, but they should not be used as a tool for anything else. All federations must be audited when the resources come from the national government or the section that comes from the national government.
The federation is currently under a financial audit that was spearheaded by the Sports Ministry following concerns from football stakeholders. Frederick Moki for Prime Edition.
And so it does continue. Meanwhile, Sports Cabinet Secretary Ambassador Amina Mohammed, together with National Olympic Committee of Kenya Chairperson Paul Tergat, have today launched the Commonwealth Games Queen's Relay Baton at Arboretum. The relay was launched after the arrival of the baton on Tuesday from Cameroon. Kenya is the 8th destination of the baton amongst the 72 Commonwealth nations that the baton will go through before it goes to Birmingham. As part of the relay in Kenya, the baton is expected to travel to Ngong Hills, Kajiado County, that is on Wednesday.
baton relay is an established tradition for the Commonwealth Games, and I think you've heard that stated by those that spoke before me. It has since been carried around the Commonwealth on every continent and across every ocean by many thousands of voluntary Queen's Baton relay runners. It upholds the Games tradition to celebrate, connect, and excite communities from its 72 nations and territories.
As it's being celebrated here today, youth and inclusion will be a big part of the Birmingham Games. The Birmingham 2022 Commonwealth Games will be the first major multi-sport event to award more medals to women than men, following the introduction of women's T20 cricket for the first time.
Athletes have shown a lot of thirst in terms of getting back into their normal routine now, to see to it that they have their lives going on in terms of exploring and their talents to the global stage again.
Now to more positive updates, where Vihiga Queens conducted their last training session on Tuesday before departing to Egypt on Wednesday for the inaugural CAF Women's Champions League. That will be followed by a tight clash against South Africa's Mamelodi Sundowns. Despite losing the league title in the just concluded season in the playoff stage, Vihiga made amends by earning qualification to the Champions League after claiming victory in the CECAFA regional qualifiers that were staged in Nairobi. The Kenyan girls beat Ethiopia's Central Bank in a scintillating final, making amends after losing to the same side in their first group stage match. The 2021 tournament will be held from the 5th of November till the 19th, with a total of 8 teams participating in the group stage to decide which team will play in the last 4. That is the knockout stage.
We are champions in Kenya, and of course also we are going to meet other champions from Africa. So I think this is a great opportunity for us to see how far we have made strides in Kenya in the women football.
Meanwhile, the national karate team head coach John Owiti has said that his side is well prepared for the World Karate Championship, which will premiere on the 18th of November this year. Meanwhile, the Kenya Police Judo team is finalizing its preparations ahead of the Judo African Open competitions early next month.
The national karate team began its training early this year and participated in the karate championship in both France and Egypt. The team's head coach John Owiti has hailed the team for its masterclass performance, citing that the players have been working extra hard to ensure that they are ready for the games.
Sasa kiko tayari kabisa. Tulianza mazoezi na tulikuwa tunachagua timu ya watu 40. Na sasa tumepunguza mpaka watu 16 ambao tunachukua wale the best ambao tunatarajia watatuletea medali.
Owiti also highlighted that the players were reduced from 40 to 16 to prepare well for the World Karate Championship, slated for Dubai from 16th of November to 21st of November this year.
Tuko tayari kabisa kucheza hiyo game. Hata tuko na hiyo urge. Na feel tu mwili imekubali. From the players also, naona hiyo urge iko.
Meanwhile, the Kenya Police Judo team is finalizing its preparation ahead of the African Open Judo competitions. Speaking after the training, the Kenya Police captain Alex Chepkue said that the team is up to ensure that it performs well in the coming event. Daniel Mwendwa for Prime Edition Sports.
All now internationally, Tottenham Hotspur has announced the appointment of former Inter Milan and Chelsea boss Antonio Conte as the new manager for the club on an initial 18-month deal. The appointment comes a day after Nuno Espirito Santo was sacked by the North London club. Conte almost joined Tottenham back in June, but talks broke down at a late stage, and instead the club hired former Wolves boss as head coach. There is expectation that the Italian's initial brief contract of 18 months at the helm will be extended by the club if he is to make progress that pleases his employers. Well, that does it for Sports Tonight. But just an update, the Champions League returns tonight, match day 4. Among the matches being played at 10 p.m. There were some early kickoff matches. At 10 p.m. you have Atalanta, of course, hosting Manchester United. And in another exciting match, you have Villarreal playing against Young Boys of Switzerland. That's all the time we had for sports. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing. Have a good night.
Very well, thank you very much, Richard Munga, for that update.
And that sports update brings us to the end of Prime Edition this Tuesday night. Thank you so much for watching Prime Edition. Monday and Tuesday, we'll see you again next week. Same place and same time. I'm Purity Museo. Lensa Odingo has been our sign language interpreter tonight. Good night and enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you for watching. I'm Mboya from Nairobi, Kenya. Good night. Best wishes. Bye-bye.
I'm asking Constanza to marry me. It would be best for my plans if Mr. Victoriano is not at all present.
Now I look exactly the same as Diana Maria. What was that?
Her mother is alive.
Mr. Robbie planned a surprise party for Miss Connie. Oh, I'm sure they'll explain it to you. Come on, let's hurry up.
Come on now. I want to ask you to be my lovely wife.
Mr. Robbie has just proposed marriage to Miss Connie.
What?
Sauti ya Kenya. Juu milimani na hata mabondeni, Radio Taifa inatamba kutamba. Sasa unaweza kupokea matangazo ya Radio Taifa loud and clear popote ulipo Western Kenya.
Radio Taifa usisahau, unaweza ukatupata kupitia
ukiwa Busia, Siaya, Vihiga, Mumias, Yala na maeneo yaliyoko karibu. Radio Taifa inapatikana kwenye 104.5 FM, na ukiwa Bungoma, Kakamega, Kiminini, Kipkaren na viunga vyake, pata vipindi na burudani safi kupitia 92.3 FM. Radio Taifa, sauti ya Mkenya.
majanga kwa Tanasha. Mwone Simba katenda majanga kwa Tanasha. Katafuna katemba. Nikichukua nikupenda na kuoa, tupate watoto wazuri warembo chini ya ndoa. Sitakupiga mimba nitoroke, tena aswa sitakuvunja moyo nitoroke. Mimi na wewe kaje, call me gentleman. Mimi na wewe kaje, call me a gentleman. Baby, baby, kuna wasanii wadogo wajue tapanguza kama si wana slide kwenye DM, wanadhani mapua yao. Unapototo kwenye wewe, mtoto wa kilio kwenye wewe. Hapa kuna bahati, kweli akanibali. Basi nikatikie baby kata mpaka kwa TikTok. Yeah baby kata. Oh yeah, yelele moye. Oh yeah, jana nakuchukua na kuweka. Mimi nikichukua nikupenda na kuoa. Ogopa wasanii. Ogopa wasanii. Ogopa wasanii. Ogopa wasanii. Wengine usiwape, watakuvunja na moyo. Usingangane, watakuvunja na moyo. Unasema superstar, unamutaka juu ya ni star. Unasema superstar, unamutaka juu ya ni star. Unajua hizo tisho, wanadanganya watu eti wanapeleka Java na wanapenda kitanda eti muhali wanjiwe. Udanganya watu eti muhali wanjiwe. Udanganya watu atikie baby kata mpaka kwa TikTok. Yeah baby kata. Oh yeah, yelele mayele. Oh yeah, jana nakuchukua na kuweka. Mimi nikichukua nikupenda na kuoa. Ogopa wasanii. Ogopa wasanii. Ogopa wasanii. Ogopa wasanii. Now that you're gone away, my heart will always stay so young and free like we were and we'll always be. Hata wengine wakisema watasema, sababu niko sawa, niko njema. Who's your best? No man can test. I let it go, sawa sawa. Just let it go, sawa sawa. I let it go, sawa sawa. Just let it go, sawa sawa.
Mambo freshi, staki kesi, kata keki, haraka upesi, sina ubaya, misi teti, kaniguoku, kona jeshi, paper chasing, money making, kali taking, overtaking, kani racing, chuko fao, nipe malkia, staki ya shao. Bruce Melody, that'll be my brother, but I show you you have me flip kabado uja discover tunaleta ibada ina wale wakorada tusipongejo baraka ni mwana mkono wa baba I'm on a roll nimechill kama kokbaridi sisi wende nimekuwa nikiflow saidi niko sawa sawa si wanagawa gawa omundu strong rungu pia ni ya bawa so here we go chini jo upo shwari mambo shwari so here we go chini jo from Nairobi to Kigali so here we go chini jo 1 2 3 wakisema watasema kwa sababu niko sawa niko njema hoja blessed no man can test I let it go sawa 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 just let it go sawa 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 I let it go sawa 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 just let it go sawa 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 sawa
Nakutana na msanii wangu wa kwanza wiki hii ambaye anajulikana kama Mr. Dawa. Mr. Dawa si msanii ambaye amekuwa mgeni kupitia kipindi hiki, lakini anakuja hapa kwa sababu ya kazi ambazo anaendelea kuzitoa ili tuzungumze na yeye. Alafu pia vile vile kuna vitu vingi ambavyo tutaka tuzungumze na yeye, yale mambo ambayo yamepita hapa nyuma. Kumekuwa na kivumbi sana. Kila wakati wasanii wana make headlines ili wakifika hapa pia vile vile tuzungumze na wao. So tunakusikia kutoka kwao, je, zile headlines ambazo wanazungumza ama zinazungumziwa ni za ukweli ama ni magazeti ama ni mitandao ya kijamii? Karibu sana ndugu yangu. Mara nyingine tunakutana na wewe, au sio? Yes, salimia kwanza washikaji wako pale nje, alafu tuendelee kuzungumza.
Bana vipi? Ni Mr. Dawa kama kawa, niko ndani ya KBC, au sio bana? Tulia hapo hapo na tusiguze kidudu.
Mambo kibaya.
Bana mambo kibaya sana.
Alright, wakati ule ulipokuja ulikuwa na wimbo fulani ambao ulikuwa unafanya fresh.
Yep.
Alafu ukatoa ngoma zingine back to back. Siri yako nini ndugu yangu ya kutoa ngoma back to back kangu?
Wajua muziki sasa ni competition. Watu wanafanya muziki sasa hapa nje. Na ukilalia basi utafulia. Sasa cha msingi ni utoe muziki baada ya muziki ndio ile watu wakuelewe. Kama unavyojua binadamu. Ukikawia pia nao wanakusahau, unaona? Sasa lazima ufanye muziki hatua kwa nyingine ndio mradi wa kufanyanya kuzoea. Na ushakuzoea basi ndio unapiga target.
Au sio?
Yep.
Kwa hivyo target zako gani?
Ni kuelea level za juu. Kama unavyojua, lazima kila mtu akifanya kitu anakuwa na msimamo fulani hivi. Yaani nataka kufika level fulani ambayo mimi mwenyewe ndaona kweli kwa kiwango fulani ambayo kinaeleweka.
Ya kweli kabisa. Hiki kiwango ninachokizungumzia si kama kile cha hapo awali. Umepiga level gani kakaangu?
Kwa sasa hii nashukuru Mungu. Siwezi ongelea sana ile nimefika sehemu ambayo kidogo but bado natia bidii. Tufikie ile malengo ambayo nataka.
Au sio? Kuna wimbo ambao unafanya vizuri sana, wimbo wako ambao unajulikana kama Namtembeza. Huu wimbo ni mzuri sana. Inakuaje kwa sababu ulichukua ile nafasi ya kufanya ngoma na Maximizer vile alipokuwa nchini Kenya, ndio kufanya muziki back to back ama ilikuwaje? Na kuzungumzia zaidi kuhusiana na Namtembeza.
Okay, Namtembeza imekuwa nyimbo ambayo tumefanya na rafiki yangu mmoja anaitwa Batengo. Tumekuwa pale studio. Maana yake jamaa yuko karibu sana na Maximizer. Alafu Maximizer ni jamaa ambaye ana jina kubwa. Ndio imekuwa muhimu sana kwangu nione ni vema nifanye na Maximizer nyimbo. Unajua mtu akishakuwa na jina ufanye naye nyimbo pia na wale mafansi wake na wale wako kiongezeka unakuwa uko juu. That's why nilikuwa nikifanya muziki back to back na Maximizer. Maana yake jamaa ana ufundi, anajua kufanya muziki.
Alright.
Yaani kutengeneza nyimbo na furahi ndio. That's why Namtembeza imefikia hapa mimi.
Na video ulifanya na nani?
Nimefanya na Bullet Star
kama kawaida. Na kwa sababu ukiangalia zile video zako mbili ambazo zilikuwa zimefuatana, haziko na utofauti. Mbona hukutaka kubadilisha producer, director I mean?
Kama unavyojua, nasemaga ukizoea mtu mmoja at least inakuwa vizuri. Kama unavyosema ukikuwa na plan B, waga bila shaka plan A itaharibika. Fata plan A itafikia viwango.
Au sio?
Yeah.
Na sijakuona of late kwamba umefanya collabo.
Nataka kujulikana kivyangu kwanza. Unajua wasanii wanazingua. Ukiomba msanii collabo ule mkubwa atakuuliza umefanya nini. Okay, nataka kuonekana pia nami niko. Akishaniona niko na angalia zile viewers zimefika wapi, bila shaka tuwezi zinguana. Tutaingia biashara tufanye kazi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Mtu wangu nataka tukirudi nyuma kwa sababu wakati mmoja ulikuwa una matatizo kidogo ya kifamilia nini na nini vitu kama hivyo, lakini kukaja kuleak story kwamba wewe na mke wako mumeachana. Sijui ni mitandao ya kijamii ama ni habari za marafiki ambazo wanazieneza. Nataka kusikia kutoka kwako ndugu yangu, wewe na wife wako sasa hivi, je, ndoa ipo ama mliachana kiukweli?
Wajua yote ambayo maandiko kwenye mtandao wakisema wanasema alisemalo lipo. Na kama halipo basi linjiani laja, lakini ile ambalo nasema lipo ni ukweli. Tuliachana kweli.
Umeachana na mke wako wa ndoa?
Achana.
Haya, sababu zilikuwa zipi?
Kiukweli kabisa siwezi ongelea sababu. Maana yake mimi nikianza kuelezea mimi, nikianza kumlaumu wife nisema sijui ilikuwa, hapana, itakuwa ni issue. Ila ni itikadi fulani zilitokea kama unavyojua ndani ya jamii.
Itikadi zipi? Kwa sababu ukiangalia itikadi, kuna labda pengine wewe ufanye majukumu yako ndugu yangu ya kifamilia, ama labda wewe ukashikwa na demu, ama ilikuwa ni vipi, ama ukafilisika?
Okay, tetesi ilikuwa kisa demu. Kisa demu lakini hakuwepo demu ambaye alikuwa anatarajia hakuwepo. Yani wife alisikia.
Yani
alisuspect lakini aka overreact. Na karibu kila kitu kabisa. Kama unavyojua bwana, sisi ni watu wa kiume bwana, wanaume. Hatupendi kufikiwa kwa viungo vingine ambavyo havifai.
Kweli.
Sababu ana mimi nilinyongwa sana, nikaona nashindwa kupumua, mimi kabidi nikatima sana.
Okay. So katika swala zima hili la wewe kukosana na wife, unaona inakuaje hasa, kwa sababu ukizingatia kwamba ndoa ni kitu cha msingi sana, ama huwa nyinyi wasanii mnafanya hivi ili kutafuta kiki? Unatafuta kiki kakangu, ama hili unalolizungumza mbele ya mashabiki zako ni la ukweli kabisa? Yani unaweza kusema kwamba kweli kabisa mimi nimeachana na mke wangu?
Mimi siongei urongo, nasema ukweli. Tumeachana, kila mmoja yuko kivyake. Sasa tunalea.
Sasa hivi mnalea?
Co-parent. Ina maana nini? Hatuko pamoja.
Alright.
Si kiki natafuta wala so nini. Ni mambo ambayo yapo ndugu yangu. Unasema kitu kama kipo.
Ndio.
Ya mbona nibania wakati kitu kipo?
Hivi nikuulize kwamba yeye alireact kwa sababu labda yeye alikuwa anakuangalia wewe kama mwanaume zaidi, ama wewe ulikuwa unamwangalia kama binti?
So kama hivyo, yeye alioverreact na kupitiza viwango. Yaani zile story ambazo alisikia, maana yake hakunipata sisi niko na demu. Umeona? Yeye alifanya utafiti wake kule nje na akaja tayari akani